This is Greg Penglis for Action Radio with Founding Moments, insights into our founding documents, sponsored by Santa Rosa Volunteers here in Santa Rosa County, Florida. Santa Rosa Volunteers is available at their website, SRV1776.com. That's SRV1776.com. It's funny how all the writing from our founding, all the authors, think that multiple paragraphs of preamble is somehow preferable to getting to the main points. Anti-Federalist number 2, like every other paper I've read so far, has several paragraphs of introduction, but the main points, the really important stuff, is at the bottom. If you don't have time, if you don't have the time of a quill pen and horse society with no internet, I advise starting these Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers about halfway through. Anti-Federalist number 2 was written by William Grayson, June 11, 1788. He, like all the Anti-Federalists, questioned the need for a constitution at all, when all the convention was really asked to do was update the Articles of Confederation. Why an arrogant group of elitists gathered in Philadelphia at this constitutional convention to totally change everything from a confederation of independent states, more like independent nations, to a union of United States, especially since, except for a few exceptions, the people, as in we the people, the folks government is supposed to serve, were for the most part happy with their independent states. Let's get into his bombshells in the last few paragraphs of his Anti-Federalist paper. Grayson says this: "There are certain modes of governing the people which will succeed. There are others which will not. The idea of consolidation is abhorrent to the people of this country. How were the sentiments of the people before the meeting of the Convention of Philadelphia? They had only one object in view. Their ideas reached no farther than to give the general government the 5 per centum impost and the regulation of trade. When it was agitated in Congress, in the Committee of the Whole, this was all that was asked, or was deemed necessary. Since that period, their views have extended much farther. Horrors have been greatly magnified since the rising of the convention." William Grayson has a theme in his paper about how the people want to be governed, and not how the elites think the people want to be governed. He highlights that the people sent their representatives to the convention in Philadelphia to regulate trade among the states and run the government by taxing imports at 5% through an impost, so that the importing companies paid for the U.S. government and the people didn't. My source on impost is the Duke University Library answer person. The real brilliance of William Grayson, something I believe is lost to history for those who do not read the Anti-Federalist Papers, is his analysis of the big picture of government. He has already stated that the people wanted basically 2 issues solved, not an entire form of government created. He also has an alternative to the Constitution with which he concludes his analysis. The 2 choices of the convention in Philadelphia were to amend the Articles of Confederation so that they created a system that worked, which is what the Anti-Federalists wanted, or to ratify the Constitution, which did come out of that convention, which is what the Federalists wanted. In opposition to that outcome, Grayson says next, "But what would I do on the present occasion to remedy the existing defects of the present Confederation? There are 2 opinions prevailing in the world. The one, that mankind can only be governed by force. The other, that they are capable of freedom and a good government. Under a supposition that mankind can govern themselves, I would recommend that the present Confederation should be amended. Give Congress the regulation of commerce, infuse new strength and spirit into the state governments, for when the component parts are strong, it will give energy to the government, although it be otherwise weak." This is almost Orwellian, but in a good sense. What William Grayson is saying, and I agree, that in government, weakness is strength. It sounds like a contradiction, but it's really a guarantee, because neither the people nor the individual can be ruled by force by a government that is too weak. So our guarantee in the strength of the people and the people to exercise their individual rights is in the gradual weakening of government power and replacing that with the gradual increase in the power of the people. Because ultimately, what Grayson is saying is that only through a purposefully and responsibly weak government will the people be capable of exercising freedom and to receive a good government. I may have to think, or rethink actually, our entire strategy here at Action Radio based on this. I have plans to disarm the bureaucracies and abolish the FBI, but I may have to reevaluate the idea of a responsibly weak government so that the people are not only capable of freedom, but actively participating in it, because the only good government is a responsibly weak one, not one that can rule by force. Guess what we have today? William Grayson ends with his practical solutions now that he has outlined his overall principles. He says, apportion the public debts in such a manner as to throw the unpopular ones on the back lands. Call only for requisitions for the foreign interest and aid them by loans. Keep on so till the American character be marked with some certain features. We are yet too young to know what we are fit for. The continual migration of people from Europe and the sentiment of new countries on our western frontiers are strong arguments against making new experiments now in government. When these things are removed, we can, with greater prospect of success, devise changes. We ought to consider, as Montesquieu says, whether the construction of the government be suitable to the genius and disposition of the people, as well as a variety of other circumstances. In other words, pay the debts with the sale of land so the debts don't become overwhelming in time. Avoid any foreign aid that isn't a loan. Wait until the unique American character emerges from the colonies before imposing an entirely new form of government through a constitution. Hold off on creating a new government system until immigration from Europe and Asia has stabilized and enough people are here. And only after all this, and our true American character has emerged, should we create a government system equal to the people and their freedom, and not force the people to live under the imposed government that goes way beyond what the people ever intended. Oh, if we only could have seen how that would have worked out. A source for this report is federalistpapers.org. The Anti-Federalist paper source is selfeducatedamerican.com. This is Greg Penckless for Action Radio with Founding Moments, sponsored by Santa Rosa Volunteers. Their website is srv1776.com. That's srv1776.com. Please share this report to anyone who needs it.